Radio, good morning, grade 12s. It's phase 2 of our practical assessment task, a civil design project for grade 12s. And in the previous video, we've gone through our scenario. We've talked in detail regarding all the requirements and specifications. We've discussed the site plan and how this will influence your design. We've looked at phase 1 presentation requirements. We've talked about your research. And now, today, we are going to get started on preparing a neat, detailed freehand drawing of the layout, example floor plan, of 2 possible design solutions for one of the proposed new houses. All right, that's going to be our reference for today's lesson. And we're going to just zoom in on that for a moment. Okay, so once you've done your research and you've done your summary of your research, like I stated, you now have to come up with detailed freehand drawings of the layout, example, the floor plan. Okay, remember these are 2 mirror images of each other, so you only have to do one of the new houses. Each freehand drawing must show the correct presentation of all the building features, permanent fixtures, veranda, carport, roof lines, as well as primary dimensions and labels. What they're referring to here is basically SUNS requirements. In other words, your building features, how you hatch your walls, even if it's a freehand drawing, your permanent fixtures, how you draw that toilet, that basin, the kitchen cupboards, those kind of things, they need to be according to SUNS. And like we've shown you, been taught in the last couple of years. The veranda, the carport, the roof lines, all of this, including primary dimensions and labels, must be according to standard. Although it's freehand, the calculation of the total area of the house you need to show, and that must include the silo and veranda, must be shown clearly in a table on the drawing sheet of each freehand drawing. Okay, so you have to add a table, all right, on the drawing sheet showing us the area indicated. Okay, note, electrical fittings and wastewater disposal systems are not required on the freehand drawing. You know, it will really save you a lot of time if you just read the questions. And then you won't spend time putting in electrical fittings, because you know what? You're not going to get any marks for that. All right. So really, when looking at this, do what is required. Not what you think is required, but what is literally required, and that will save you time. Grid graph paper must be used to generate the freehand drawing so that all features and fixtures are drawn to proportion. And I've again said to my learners, put that grid paper below, a clear A3 white paper, and that will shine through enough for you to be able to keep it in grid proportion. And you can just add that as evidence at the back of your portfolio. All the drawings must comply with SUNS. That's similar to what they've said here, just in a shorter sentence. These drawings must provide clear evidence that a high level of competency has been attained in freehand drawing. Ladies and gentlemen, these drawings can't look like you've done it in 10-20 minutes time, and it can definitely not look like your baby sister or brother did it. All right, it needs to be of a high competency level like expected for grade 12. You have to then select the best solution which demonstrates an in-depth understanding of the scenario. And again, this is if you've read the scenario over and over, if you've done your specifications and constraints, you're going to know, you're going to have understanding of the scenario, and that will be reflected in your drawings within the context of the design brief, specifications, and constraints. If you can read and apply that which you have read, you will achieve. On a separate page, okay, so we've got 2 freehand drawings here, okay, then you have to select that solution on a separate page by evaluating and comparing the 2 freehand solutions. Okay, and I'll show you now in a moment a table, a very simple table to help you do this. Okay, you have to create a table with a minimum of 6 descriptions, creating and applying a simple rating scale, justifying each score by describing the positives and negative aspects of each solution, each criterion. So this is going to be an important paragraph for you to remember. Complete the process by writing a comprehensive summary giving reasons for the selected freehand solution. A comprehensive summary, people, that's not 3 bullet points. That's a 2 to 3 paragraph summary, right? That you have to write at the end of your evaluation. the summary must include whether there were any late changes made to selected freehand solutions. So when you looking through your freehand solutions, you're evaluating them, you might pick up on something that you want to change or add, then you have to mention it here. Okay, so let's stop there, and then we're just focusing on the actual freehands today. Let me scroll down to, before we show you the examples, okay, let's scroll down here then to our assessment criteria and checklist for the 2020 EGD Civil PAT, and we've spoken about these already, but I'm going to just zoom in on what we are doing today, and it's these 2 points, point 3 and point 4, freehand drawings of 2 possible design solutions. So you know by now how this rating scale looks, and you will have to rate, all right, in this one column, you're going to in the end rate each one of your designs. You can score a maximum of 10 for each solution. So let's look at that. In your freehand solution, let's look at the first one. All the building features, including veranda and carport, has all of them been included? Okay. In other words, it's a silo. It is a silo incorporated. Do you have a veranda, carport, all the other building features? Is it there? The bedrooms, the kitchens? If it's yes, you score yourself for 1 year. Did you have the correct presentation of all the building features? In other words, did you use suns? Did you present the building features correctly? Yes, the door openings, the windows, those kind of things. Yes, do. If you only did partially, you're going to give a 1. If not at all, you just did a freehand according to your own will and love, it's going to be a 0, my child. All right. All fixtures included. Did you include all the what do you call it? The basins, the toilets, those kind of things, the built-in cupboards? Yes. And you're going to give you a 1. So you can see that if you comply with these, we cannot give you anything else but what is stated here. That's why learners get close to 100% if they follow this rigorously. Correct presentation of all fixtures according to SUNS. All right, so what you've included the fixtures, yes, well done. But did you present them correctly? Okay, 2 out of 2. The relative size proportion of all features to each other, and this is where the grid paper comes in. Did you use that? Is your proportions correct? Your sizing, does it look like it's in proportion? 2 out of 2. Did you add primary labels? In other words, kitchen, bathroom, those kind of things, carpet, tile area, primary dimensions, right? Most important dimensions. We're not going to dimension every part of this house, but you're going to do the primary ones. Again, 3 out of 3. Area calculation clearly shown within the constraint. Okay, so that's where they've referred to, just previously we read about a table. All right, table. Do you have a little table on the side that shows us the different floor areas? And if you add all of that up, are you within your limits, your constraints? Yes, 2 out of 2. The next, design functionality and effective utilization of space. And this is really up to your teacher who's going to be marking your PAT. But also, if you've used great design techniques, layouts, etc., that you utilize a space optimally, it's a good indication. 2 out of 2. Okay, so that all adds up to 15, is divided by 1.5, and that gives you 10. So each one of your 2 designs are going to be evaluated according to these criteria. Remember, it's only a floor plan that's required. Will it help you to do a elevation? No. Will it help you to do a foundation plan? No. All right, just a floor plan. That's what we're looking for here. All right, then how to select the best freehand solution. This must be a separate presentation. Okay, in other words, it's a 3rd page. So each one of these, 1 page, 2 page, and page number 3. Okay, do you have a table that is created that's easily understandable, and it presents your selection process? Yes, 2 out of 2. Do you have a minimum of 6 descriptive criteria to evaluate? Yes, minimum, people. So ideally, you would like to have more than 6, all right? You don't just want to do the minimum here. You want 10 out of 10, right? So maybe have 7 or 8 criteria. Simple rating scale created and used to score each solution against each other. I'll show you this. This is going to be very easy to do. Each score, sorry, that's a spelling mistake, justified by describing the positives or negative of each criteria. Again, that's just a simple comment on the side. So just have a comment side and then a summary at the end. Okay, all of that adds up to 10. So here you can see here, you've got 30 marks up for grabs here, just in your design part. So let's look at a couple of examples. Okay, when looking for examples that's 100% correct according to what is presented in your PAT task, it's very difficult to get one because every year these criteria changes. But I'm going to go through a couple of examples and highlight things that I really liked of learners' work. Okay, so here this was a while back when they did a little bit of a shopping center. Okay, you've got 3 different shops here with their bathrooms. But again, it's freehand, it's in good proportion. They've used the correct features, building features, and the correct indication of those features. It's clearly labeled, all right. You've got your titles that's clearly indicated. You've got your key measurements. So this was good, one example. Here's another drawing that I was quite impressed with. All right, there's a lot of detail here. They've actually done the electrical fittings. Remember, that's not the requirement this year for you, so don't put all of that in there. And look at the measurements on the outside. And this one specifically also did additional elevation, which is not required in your drawings. Please make sure that your drawings are framed and that each page at least has your page number and your name on it. Okay, here's another example of previous work. Again, remember the requirements have changed. There was a little floor plan. Now this is very small. You're going to have a much bigger. Please also plan your floor plan to fit clearly on. Don't have it here on the side and have a lot of open space. Present it quite nicely in your page, please. This learner also inserted a little bit of a site plan to show us the layout and positioning of it, which isn't a bad idea, but it's not a requirement, right? They even did a 3D and different elevations. But what is good about this one is there's a little table of the different areas to make sure and indicates that everything is still according to within the constraints. So that's the table there. There's a north arrow. And then they've evaluated on this page, they've evaluated the pros and the cons and had some notes and a much little nice title block on the side. So you can always do a very nice title block, although the requirements currently on your freehands is just for you to have a name, page number. But I actually like this title block. It shows, that you're in it to win it, and that's very positive. Okay, here's another floor plan that you can have a look at, which also has a different details. Okay, here's a little bit of an example of how they've done the selection of, now in previous years they had 3 concepts. I hope you can see here. On the left hand side is the specifications and requirements. So remember, you only have to list 6. They've done quite a lot more here. This learner wanted to do very well. So does it exceed 260 square meters? That was one of the specifications, and all they've done is they've ticked yes, concept 1 doesn't exceed, concept 2 doesn't exceed, concept 3 doesn't exceed. Okay. Does it have a full heap and valley roof design? So only one of these concepts had a full, which was a requirement. Okay. So you can see here in the end, you can calculate all of these together and you can see which concept. This one scored 30, this one scored 32, and this one 36. So in the end, he went with concept number 3, and because of the scale. So this is a very simple scale. What they didn't do in this example, which you must do, is you must have your summary paragraph in the end, right? So just remember that, and you have to have a description also of each criteria. So a little bit more than what is stated here. But this is at least an example. Let me see if I can give you another one. Okay, here's another one. It's in Afrikaans. Also not fully what is required, but again, it's just a basic table. Option 1, option 2, what was positive, what was negative, and here's the different criteria. Okay, let me have a look at one more for you. Okay, here's another one, which is a bit more creative. Concept 1, pros and cons. Concept 2, pros and cons. And then
Why I choose concept 1, that was a summary. This is good. Rating comparisons. Now this is very creative, but to be honest, this makes it very difficult for whoever assesses your work to look for those 6 requirements, to see how the system works. It doesn't meet the criteria of an easily understandable selection process. It is a selection process, yes, but is it easily understandable? And I don't think so. So if you think about yours, please make sure that it meets those requirements of point 4. A table that is easily understandable, showing your selection process with 6 descriptive criteria, etc. So just have a look at that again. And I'm going to leave you here at this stage. Make sure you get this in and done as soon as possible. It's Lockdown 2020 and it's still your PAT task for 2020. Let's go.